Hey guys, it is Nick here with another Nick's Topics Walking Dead What If topic video for you guys today. And today we're getting into part 10 of What If Lori Survived. Now, this episode's going to be slightly bigger than the other episodes because there is a bit more to cover in regards to this certain episode. But with that out of the way, let us dive into the recap before the actual story. So last time, we recapped with the entrance of Negan, and him killing Abraham and Glenn in the typical fashion, because I feel that besides other people, more people being there to witness their deaths, nothing would change that. Now in regards to breaking Rick, this would be a lot easier because of Lori being alive. And even though I still feel he would threaten to kill Negan, after the whole axe incident, I don't feel that he would have to almost cut Carl's hand off. So, saves him from that at least. Now the governor? Negan kept an eye on him the entire time because he was the only one to show resistance whenever everybody else faltered and broke, kind of like Rick. So, yeah, Negan kept an eye on him. Now, whenever we get to Negan basically giving his end speech and everything at the beginning of Season 7, that whole deal, Daryl still gets put on the truck because he still punched Negan, so he's going to get the same treatment he got before. Now, as for the governor, he's getting taken too, because for a couple reasons. One, he was responsible for killing most of Negan's men along with the rest of Rick's group. 2, Negan saw value in him and also thought that his eye patch on just his whole demeanor was kind of cool. And 3, he didn't want this guy against him. No way. He knew he was a threat. Now, one could argue he could have just killed him, but that's a different story. And big one. He takes Lori too. Now, I know a bunch of you from the last episode are probably questioning this or agreeing with this. Why did I choose this particular path, you may ask? Well, for one thing, Negan's multiple wives, Lori would kind of fit that regard. And for another, Negan possibly recognizing this as Rick's wife, eventually, sooner or later, would do this to make absolute sure that Rick would not turn against him, and that if he somehow did, that he could use this as leverage with Lori, the governor, and Daryl all as hostages, and now possibly meant for the future? Yeah, this is definitely good insurance policy for Negan. With that, the saviors take their leave, and Beth takes the place of Sasha in regards to helping Maggie get to Hilltop, because, you know, that whole deal with basically her still having to have a baby and everything, and still want to bury Glenn because Glenn still died here. Yeah, Beth takes the place of Sasha. Same with one of my other videos, can't remember which one precisely, but yeah. Now, as for the whole Carol and Morgan thing at the Kingdom, I feel that that whole segment would remain unchanged. Because, honestly, there'd be no one else, like, no extras there, so I don't see much changing that part of the story. Now, as for the Sanctuary and everybody's tortures, Daryl's still gonna get tortured the same exact way, so he is on a separate, basically his part of the sanctuary where he's being held in his cell, so nothing really changes in regards to him. The governor is in a cell in a different part of the sanctuary because Negan, of course, didn't want these guys conversing and basically trying to find a way to escape and or kill him, so he made absolute sure to keep them apart, all of them. So the governor is kept at a separate part of the sanctuary, getting his own bit of torture. And he's definitely having flashbacks to like when he used to torture people, or at least attempted to. And as for Lori, she doesn't get tortured. She doesn't get put in a cell. she doesn't even get hurt. She at first questions this and thinks, even though this guy killed Glenn and Abraham, maybe he has some kind of decency. But that's not true. She gets taken to a room where Negan's wives are. She questions this at first, and then it becomes all too clear. And when the ladies explain their side, oh man, now it all makes sense. Whatever decency she thought that Negan had, that's long out the window now. She has more disdain for this guy, even more so than whenever he actually killed Glenn and Abraham, and she has to find a way to escape. But while she's having this conundrum, and Daryl's getting his own size of torture from Dwight, the governor is called to Negan, and Negan wishes to have a conversation with him. The governor gets called to Negan's room, and Negan basically tells the governor the list of choices he has. He either works for Negan as a dead man, or basically works for points, or lives like a king. And he also asked the governor to explain a little bit about himself, about who he was, like how he became the man he is right now, because he's interested, and he definitely wants the governor as a man. The governor, deciding to be coy with this and actually kind of liking the idea to maybe scare Negan, obliges and lets hold the entire story of his origin, basically who he was, how he became the man he is today, and he also goes into great detail about his torture chambers and what he did whenever he had a town of his own and was a leader before encountering Rick, and basically that whole spiel, and about the zombie heads and the tanks. And he's definitely going into great detail with this, trying to scare and intimidate Negan as much as humanly possible. But he also says that even with all this, Rick and his family still offered to spare his life and offered him a way out of death, basically saving him and make him part of their family. But he tells him that does not mean that he's as soft as Rick and the others are. He will not be easy to break. And after finishing his whole monologue, he tells Negan straight out that basically, he is not as soft as Rick. And then if he wants to break him, he's going to have to do a lot better than throwing him in a truck and basically trying to make him retrieve a weapon. Basically telling him how he broke Rick, basically. Trying to make Negan as intimidated and just do anything to get on Negan's bad side, because the governor doesn't care. After hearing all this, on one hand, Negan is perplexed and angry that this guy would even dare talk to him like this. Yeah, the nerve. But on the other hand, Negan actually is both surprised and just, he doesn't know what to think, really. But above all else, he is actually impressed with this guy. He has never had anyone speak to him like this before, ever. And he has never heard anyone's story this deep. And yeah, he definitely wants this guy as a minion now. There is no doubt in his mind. With everything he's heard, that pretty much sealed it. But he still can't have the governor talking to him like that, because he's got a reputation to keep up. And if he lets someone like this talk to him like this, what does that make him? So he basically goes for the scare tactic he used on Daryl to try and threaten him with Lucille, and is quite surprised at the results. The governor doesn't flinch. See, with Negan, he thought that the governor's whole tough act and basically everything like that would have dropped the second that the bat went near his face. But nothing. Same with Daryl. And this definitely stuns Negan. And the governor raises his face towards Negan and basically repeats what he said. if he wants to break him, he's going to have to do a lot better than scare tactics. And this definitely intimidates Negan. Negan is now still kind of impressed with this guy's resilience and toughness, but he's also starting to get annoyed with the governor's basically irritableness and basically actually goes for the swing right at the governor's stomach. He goes hardcore with this swing, not holding back. And the governor clutches his stomach, now on the ground, almost gasping for air. Nah, that definitely taught him a lesson. And Negan says that he's definitely going to become a minion of his. He had his chance to do this willingly and basically throws him back in his cell. Afterwards, and after Daryl's talk, or at least him trying to escape, Lori is called in. And she's basically just going off on him about all of his wives and basically how much of a scum he is and that he won't get away with this and that she wants to go back to Rick. Negan smiles at this woman's persistence. Everyone he's seen here is persistent. And yet Rick showed no signs of this other than pretty much threatening to kill him. And that didn't take long to break him. But he smiles at this and says that, sure, you can go back home. We were just about to go to your little home to pay Ricky Boy a visit for our week's due. And I think that he's going to be most surprised for what we have coming for him. So, Negan and the Saviors begin their trip to Alexandria for their first week's worth of stuff. But what is the surprise that Negan is talking about? What does he have to offer Rick this time around that's different? Can the group get Lori, the governor, and Daryl back this time? Or will Rick show the first signs of his true murderous self? Will he actually be able to get his wife back? Or will this end badly for him and his son? And that's where we're going to be leaving things for the moment. So I hope you guys truly enjoyed this episode and are enjoying What If Lori Survived thus far. What do you think of this episode? Do you think that the governor intimidating Negan like that might have backlash? Or do you think that Negan will use what the governor's told him against Rick and his group? What about the others? Do you think that they have a chance? Leave a comment down below, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and want to see more, and I will see you guys next time.